So, in helping yourself or a child that you care deeply about learning to temper their perfectionism, I want you to understand that often these people they have a lot of idealism. They may not recognize that others don't think and perceive as well and as in depth and as intelligently as they do. So then they're going to be very surprised and confused when other people don't do what is really right or what is to them very obviously the ethical or higher moral duty. These children are intensely aware of the tension or the conflict between the way things are and the way things should be. And ideally they'll learn to do something about it. They'll make it their life mission to take an area that they disagree with and try to lift it up to the level that they can envision. They'll also have that same issue with themselves. They'll also be caught up in how they are versus how they could or should be. They may have a lot of difficulty with their own shortcomings, which is just part of being a human being. We all make mistakes, no matter how smart we are. We all do stupid things. So if you're dealing with somebody who's having a bad reaction to perfectionism, if you're dealing with a child who's very upset, first of all, we don't want to disagree with them. We don't want to say that's nothing to be upset about. We want to be able to reflect back their feeling. We want to be able to attune ourselves with them. So, and we can do that in a way where we reflect it, but we downshift just a little bit. They can say, I'm an idiot, I can't ever do anything right. And we can say, you're frustrated with your mistake. So that's a way to help them use semantics and self-talk to sort of downshift a little bit and lower the intensity of their response. We want to wait until they're less upset and help them learn to allow failures and disappointments. We don't want to protect them from making errors. We don't want to protect them from their failures. We want to let that happen. If we see them going a route that we don't think is going to work out or is going to end up wrong, I think a lot of times as parents we should just step out of it and let them make their own mistake and learn from it, instead of always guiding them so they don't ever make mistakes, because then they learn that mistakes are to be feared and you shouldn't make them and you have to do it right all the time. So in that same vein, I would also encourage you to stay out of their homework. I know that sounds like a big surprise, and you probably have a value that you should help make sure that your child does all their homework and they do it right, and you should correct that. I'm going to say I would urge you to consider just staying out of it, and especially if you're having big fights over getting homework done, just let that be between the child and the school. I was talking to somebody about this just yesterday in my office, and the father said, "You mean just let them fail?" And I said, yes, because if they can't ever fail and you won't let them, how can they ever truly succeed on their own effort? How can they learn what it takes to be successful on their own? How can they learn to do that independently and really own it? You know, that's more like they're becoming your puppet or your mini-me. And as a parent, you need to understand this man in particular was very concerned about being judged by others in his small town community, you know, because then other people will see that I have a son that's a failure, you know, was what he said. You know, your child is not you. Your child is responsible for their own decisions in life and their own path. If they succeed, I think it should be on their own merit. And if they fail, it doesn't mean that you are a bad parent. Failure is part of success. What we want to teach people is that we fail up. We want to teach them that everybody who's done something incredible in life has failed over and over and over again. We want to teach them things like when Edison made the light bulb, he made something like 11,287 experiments that didn't work before he learned that boron was the element that you could make a filament of, that you could run an electric charge through that would create light without turning into ash and dust. We want to teach them smart self-talk. there's another video, and you can also look on my website under self-talk, self-esteem, and self-control, and you will see strategies for teaching a way of using your inner language and being your own coach to help yourself mediate your feelings and recover from frustrations and disappointments. And we want to focus on them making a reasonable effort instead of telling them to try their best. Because if you think about it, if you try your best, I have a problem with that. Like if I go to a swim meet and I'm a kid and I try my very best and I'm still alive at the end, doesn't that mean that I didn't try my best? Because if I tried my very best, then I would be dead, right? At the end of it, I would have given everything. And I want you to understand that a lot of kids who are gifted, that's how they think. They think in very exacting and extreme terms oftentimes. So we want to focus on making a reasonable effort. We want to focus on good enough and not maximizing your potential or doing your best all the time.